actually Nahida, aren't you? Paimon felt like Catherine was acting weird when we met at the Sub-Zero's festival. And Dunyarzad, did you save her?
It's a really long story. We shouldn't disturb her. Her consciousness is still weakened. Let's chat somewhere else. How about by the traveler's favorite bench?
Let's talk about Dunyarzad first. It's such a relief that she's all right.
After we parted on the last day of the Sub-Zero's festival, I left the city and saw what the traveler had described. Among the countless dreams, I found one that was growing fainter and once Dunyarzad could no longer bear the Akasha harvesting her dreams, her consciousness began to dissipate. Such a small fragment of consciousness can't last for very long, where both will gradually fade until they completely disappear. I used all the power I had to keep her dying dream alive as long as possible, but it still wouldn't have lasted for much longer if it hadn't been—
So it looks like we did manage to save Dunyarzad!
Huh? Why are you two smiling so happily? I thought you'd be so moved that you'd start crying.
Both are fine.
All right. You two must have a lot of other questions for me, right? After all, you say, to be accurate, I'm using the Akasha as a medium to occupy Catherine's consciousness.
How did you do that? Poor Catherine.
Theoretically, I can enter anyone's mind as long as they're wearing their Akasha terminal. The Akasha is the legacy of Greater Lord Rukkhadevata. As Lesser Lord Kusanali and the first Akasha terminal, my consciousness has always been linked to the Akasha. I've always respected my people's free will, so I've never actually occupied their consciousness. When necessary—
Hold on. Did we just learn some deep, dark secret? So Catherine is— No wonder Paimon felt something was— What about your own body? Why do you need to borrow other people's? Don't you live in the sanctuary of Surasthana?
That story begins a long time ago. After Greater Lord Rukkhadevata disappeared, the sages found my newly born self and took me back to Sumeru. At that time, I was young and weak. The sages kept me in the sanctuary of Surasthana. However, I do understand that they had hoped to find Greater Lord Rukkhadevata instead of me.
So, the sages basically put their new Archon under house arrest? How dare they!
In some ways, they aren't wrong. Greater Lord Rukkhadevata was omniscient and I'm still really far away from being able to call my—
Yeah, you got a lot of believers. Just look at this.
Thank you for the kind words. But I honestly don't need physical freedom as long as I can connect my consciousness to the Akasha. Trying to find a way to save Irminsul is my life's mission and top priority. Every once in a while, I will also take up the duties of the God of Wisdom and enlighten a lost soul here and there. Doing all that should—
At the Avidia Forest, there was this incense that made the traveler fall unconscious.
You also heard someone's voice, right? It said world and forget me.
Yeah, so you do know. We've been wanting to ask you what that was about.
It seems like the traveler established a connection to Irminsul. That was a message left by Greater Lord As you two probably know, Greater Lord Rukkhadevata disappeared after the—
A message from Greater Lord Rukkhadevata?
King Deshret? That god who died even longer ago? Some present-day desert dweller.
Okay, so what?
I still haven't managed to decipher it. Even the Akasha isn't currently capable. Greater Lord Rukkhadevata's residual consciousness in Irminsul seems to be contaminated with something that has a very dangerous aura to it. Many devoted scholars go mad as soon as they connect their consciousness. I've warned the Academia about this many times, but I believe this is the key to saving Irminsul. That's why I've kept trying to decipher it.
So the tree in the vision was Irminsul? Oh, Tainari also said that Irminsul, but even if you can't figure out what that vision was...
The Traveler wasn't affected after coming in contact with that consciousness. I've never seen anyone like that. With you here, we may have a chance at deciphering it. No, we must decipher its secrets. I've already eliminated all other factors that this puzzle has life and death at stake. It could determine Irminsul's fate, as well as Tevat's. There's never been any big problems with the Academia's governance of Sumeru. I wonder what caused them to... Even though the city's residents haven't noticed anything strange, if the Traveler hadn't broken the Sub-Zero's samsara, I tried to do some investigating in the Akasha, but I think they're
Oh, that reminds Paimon. In Gandharvaville, there was a...
Regardless, I need to first investigate the Sage's motive. You mean how the Akasha stops you from...
Yeah, it's been such a long time.
It's not that no one noticed. It's more like no one cared.
Misdirection?
The Sages convinced everyone to believe that being unable to dream is a sign of rationality, even if the truth is that their dreams are with their propaganda in place. Besides, Greater Lord Rukkhadevata must have created the Akasha in the hopes that it could be used to its full potential. Anyway, by now, even those who never use Akasha terminals got it. I hope my answers were satisfactory. To be honest, maintaining Dunyarzad's fading dream took a lot of Oh, and you don't need to worry too much about the Sage's activities for now. The Akasha won't be able to conduct another project.
Go and get some sleep. Leave everything to us.
What a relief.
Traveler? Paimon? Why am I here? Do either of you know?
Maybe you were sleepwalking. You know you can't wake up a sleepwalker.
I see. I should visit my maintenance personnel sometime. Oh, I'm fine. I better go. Thank you.
We spent quite some time in Sumeru City, but ever since we last said goodbye to Lesser Lord Kusanali, we haven't heard anything from... Oh, we can't just keep waiting around like this. Let's go find Catherine and pick up some work so we can at least keep ourselves busy.